So I'm going to include the variance here. VAR
Okay.
variance is np dot var. So the truth is that there are a lot of functions that I've not mentioned about under the NumPy libraries. Like you can perform mathematical operations like sine. I told you about that. Like you want to graph angles like this, 30, 60, 90. So then you can perform mathematical operations like dot sine. Hmm? I think there's also sine of degrees, sine. Let me see again. Dot sine. Okay, sine angle. This is for sine angle. Angles. So let's see if this gives. No, it's not sine angle. That's not sine angle. So let's try to use angles. So you can perform something like this. Then if you want to use convert it, there's also np.pi that is going to give us the pi. So like our formula has always been to convert it in form of treat it like that is not in form of radian.
Multiply by something.
Yes. Okay, let's see something. Angles. Okay. So this should be in array. This should be in array, np.array. So because it is in list, so that's why it's not working.
No.
So this is what I mean. So you can perform something like this. So which is times pi over 180. So these are the sine angles. So let's make a practical example. Let's say that for our previous assignment that we did the previous times, like we want to plot the sine and cos graph. So I want to combine matplotlib and numpy library. Let's say we have numpy. We already have numpy. Let's say import matplotlib. Import matplotlib dot matplotlib dot pyplots as plt. So then if I have angles like this, np dot arrays, and there's this np dot arrange. I think np dot arrange something like this. np dot arrange. See this np dot arrange. So we have start, stop, and step. So let's see that we have zero. It allows you to create series of arrays. Just specifying the start, stop, and let's see that we want to do it to 360. Then it's going to give you in form of numpy array, and you want a step size of 5, something like this. So this is what arrange means. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So you just have to specify, like, this is another np function. There are a lot of them that I might not mention. So we have np.arrange. So it's just have to create series uh, of numpy array, array with series of array with several items. So then you specify the start, specify the stop, then you specify the
Step.
step. So which is what we did here. So with this np.arrange, you create an array of angles. So you can see that this is another way of creating array. So let's say angles. Then you want to find the sine of all angles, sine angles. So you just np.sine angles multiplied by np.pi over 180. So we'll do that for cos. So you can see that for if at all you want to use this now, you need to look. So but for this is once you are using numpy, you have just few lines of code to write because there's no need to look.
Oh.
So then I can then plot this plt dot plot angles, comma, sine angles. So you have something like this. So I can try to create that for cos angles also. Cos. So you have something like this. Then I can set the figure to be much more bigger.
We can also use plt.show.
Yes, I haven't used the show. So what other styling I can still use? Can still remember what other styling?
We can try to label
Yeah,
like sine angles and
that is what.
we say x label, maybe sine angle.
No, it is angles.
Okay, angle.
S label is angles. So y, you can just leave S label. Let's just put labels here. Label to be equal to sine and label to be equal to cosine. Then plt dot legend is going to show everything. So then you can also use the plt dot grid and set it to be 2. So you have something like this.
Okay. But since we always have a x-axis and y-axis, so can we also bring out apart from x label, can we use another y label also? Is it okay here?
Yeah, you can use y label, but it depends on what you want to use your y label for. Do you
No, I
understand?
mean for this example.
Yes, for this example, you can use y label, like plt dot y label. But in this particular case, there are two things. So you have to specify that your y label is not only for sine. You can see the sine of x and cos of or angles. Sine of
Okay.
angle, because it's two things that is there. It's not just
Wow.
one thing. So you have something
Okay.
like this. Then we can then proceed and let's make another example using Numpy that we've done earlier. So for example, you want to calculate if you have student score like this, student score. Okay, let me say the first CA of a student is maybe 1, 2, 3. First CA, let me just create random numbers between 0 to 10. 5, 8, 9, 2, 1, 3, 1. So let's say we have just these 6 items. And second CA, second continuous assessment. Let's say 4, 6, 8, 9, 1, 0, 10.
Sir, can we also generate figures, random figures with the initial formula you told us from
Yes, yes,
for
yes,
calculating CA?
yes, yes. For like this, you can, instead of stressing myself, I can just say np dot random. I know that under this random functions, under np.random, there are a lot of np.random. When we talk about random numbers, so you just have to start from np.random. So it now depends on the kind of random number that you want to get. Like np, you have the np.random dot rand, which is going to give you a random number between 0 and 1. An example is this np.random.rand. So let's say 5,5. So it's going to give you a random number between 0 and 1 of 5,5 size. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So then you also have the np dot random dot rand n. I think yes, we have rand n. So it's going to give you random number between -1 and 2, something like that. I think -1 and 1, or -1, -2 and 1. So something like
Okay.
this. Okay, I think it's with -2 and 2. Between -2 and 2. So something like this. So then we also have np dot random dot uniform. So this is going to create a uniform distributions. I think so. Uniform distributions like this. np dot random dot uniform. So you have uniform distributions. So you can look at this. So in uniform distribution, you just have to specify the lower and upper range. Maybe 0 to 10, like what you want to do. 100.
Okay.
So like let's say 10. So we have a distribution of 0 to 10 and 10 size.
Okay.
So which is something like this.
Please, I have a question. Because it's having decimal points of a lot, is there a way that we can limit the decimal points or not?
Make it an odd number, eh?
Maybe odd number, or maybe only to 1 decimal point, maybe 2.1 or
Oh,
2.12.
sure. So you also have the normal distribution also. I think normal distribution,
Okay.
you have to provide the standard deviation and the mean. Just normal distribution. So like this, and like what you mentioned, you can try to say, I think np dot int or np dot round. Np also provide an option for you to round the functions to whole numbers. So you can round everything up to whole numbers. So like this now, we are going to create a random number like that, dot uniform. So we create a random number between 0 and 10. Then we want it to be just 10 numbers between 0 and no. Okay, let's say that how many? Let's just say the class of 6 students, 6. Then you can just create an int. I mean np dot round to create random whole numbers. So you can do the same for this also for second CA. So for this now, exam score, let's create a random number also, but now it's between 0, let's say between 10 and 60. Between 10 and 60, then you can then see that total is equal to, so instead of looping, if you are using this, you have to loop, but now you just have to use our formula 2 times C1 plus C2 plus exam. So it's going to calculate for individual item. Then you can then print total. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So anytime we run this, we are going to get different numbers because we are using random numbers.
Okay.
Do you understand that? Then I told you that there is what we call pseudo random number generator. You can pseudo it np.random.seed. So this seed is going to get a random number, but anytime you run it, you are going to get the same random number. So I can seed it to the 0. So anytime I run this, I'm going to get the same random number.
Okay.
So that is what I was explaining about np.seed. So you can try to read more about pseudo random number generator. It's using some kinds of formulas to get the same random number. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So it's for pseudo random number generation. So it's going to seed, but if you are seeding with another, starting from another seed, you are going to get different random number. Do you understand that? So most times I do advise that you seed. So you seed, for example, if I give a particular task now, then you want us to get the same value, then you are using several kinds of random number,